There are many reasons why kids with ADHD have trouble listening, but there's one key factor that I don't think gets enough attention. And ignoring this reason can lead to more problems with your relationship and make it harder for your child to develop those important life skills. So, I'll tell you about this reason and then exactly what you can do and say to help your child listen better and become more responsible, respectful, and independent. And if this resonates with you, tap the like button below and let me know. It helps this video spread to more families who need to see it, and it motivates me to keep making videos. Now, think about this for a minute. If your boss kept emailing you or constantly hovered over you, telling you what to do every few minutes, how much work would you actually get done? How would you feel about all the interruptions and rapid-fire requests? I know I would be pretty annoyed with the amount of expectations and rules I was supposed to keep up with. It would get stressful, and if I can't get my actual work done, it would probably leave me feeling pretty helpless too. Now, if you really did have a boss like that, how would you deal with it and cope with the helpless feeling? You might eventually learn to ignore a lot of what they say and tune them out because you still need to focus and do your job. It's the same for kids. When we constantly tell kids what to do, it becomes not only frustrating, but also nearly impossible for them to actually do everything we say. We're unintentionally setting them up to fail. When we give kids too many direct instructions, our words lose their importance. They become background noise, especially for kids with ADHD. And because parents can't practically follow through with everything they tell their kids to do, too many instructions just teach kids that they don't have to listen. And if they don't tune everything out, then something else can happen. Like, remember those days when your kids were little and constantly needed your attention? It was all, Mom, 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 or Dad.
Okay.
And after a few minutes of that, I start to feel like I'm going crazy because it's just so overwhelming and I can't do anything for myself. Or is this just me? I imagine that's how kids with ADHD feel when we constantly bombard them by instructing them or telling them what to do. Often kids with ADHD have more sensitive sensory systems and can get easily overwhelmed from a lot of expectations and noise. And the stress and overstimulation from lots of questions and instructions makes it harder to think logically and make decisions. So here's the key reason why many kids with ADHD have trouble listening. When we directly tell them what to do so often, we actually make it harder for them to listen in general. But the key here is the word directly. Let me explain what I mean. The average parent gives 17 instructions every 30 minutes to their kids. And when kids have more behavioral problems, like kids with ADHD, that number goes up to 40. 40 times being told what to do in 30 minutes. That's more than one instruction every minute. And too many direct instructions can cause those challenging behaviors that make listening difficult. Too many instructions can also make it harder to learn other important skills like responsibility and taking initiative. If you're continually telling your child what to do or doing things for them, they don't get enough opportunities to learn these skills. And they need opportunities to practice so that they can learn. For example, let's say you want your child to get ready for school on their own. This is actually something I'm working on with my own kids right now. I can tell my kids exactly what to do every time I see something's missing, like go put your snack in your backpack or refill your water bottle. But chances are, after several of those in a row, something won't get done or I'd have to use multiple reminders. Instead of all of this, though, I can just tell them where their things are and that they're ready to be packed. I can remind them with a piece of information instead of instructions. Like I could say, oh, your water bottle looks empty, to prompt them to refill it before packing it. Or your bag still needs a snack, to get them to go get one from the cupboard and put it in. They're learning about responsibility and taking initiative by making choices and actively carrying out those choices. I know this may seem counterintuitive at first, but directly telling your child what to do isn't always necessary or worth it. And at times, it can even be detrimental to their learning. Of course, the key word here is necessary, but more on that later. So what can you do instead of direct instructions or commands? I actually did it in the examples just before. Did you catch it? Like I could say, oh, your water bottle looks empty, to prompt them to refill it before packing it. Or your bag still needs a snack, to get them to go get one from the cupboard and put it in. To prompt your child to take action, you can give them what's called a statement of information. And there are 2 key rules you should follow to avoid making it sound like a direct instruction. There are 3 other important things that I'll tell you about after. So the first rule is to make sure your child is not the subject of the sentence. The second rule is to avoid words like need to or have to, like in these examples. It's time for homework, or I have to make dinner soon. I'm free for 30 minutes for homework help. These statements prompt your child to take action, but they don't directly tell them what to do or exactly how to do it. Statements of information give kids a chance to practice being more independent and helpful because they make their own choice to take action. And when your child does the action that you wanted, you have an opportunity to verbally acknowledge their work, helpfulness, and maturity. That will essentially encourage more of this positive behavior in the future. The more they practice and the more you notice and acknowledge their effort, the easier it will be for them to do what they need to do. If what they're working on is something they're not used to doing, you might need to show them first. Let them watch you while you explain what you're doing. Like after they've watched you pack their stuff for a few days, start handing them the items to pack themselves. After a few days of that, leave their stuff in a visible place and just point to it while you tell them it's ready to be packed. And also remember that kids with ADHD are often very creative and think outside the box. Even if something isn't perfect or done the right way, let them do it anyways. They hone their skills and get better and more efficient over time. For example, if your child volunteers to put away their laundry, don't tell them how to do it, just let them do it. Could it end up messy? Of course, but they'll be more motivated to help in the future when they see the results of their own ideas. They'll become more independent over time. So notice their attempts, even if it wasn't how you imagined. Help them feel valued for their contribution to the family. But to make statements of information even more effective, you need to make sure to include 3 important parts. And the first one is to tap the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And yeah, this is not going to help with your statements of information, but it does give me a statement of your support. So thank you for that. As for the 3 things to include in a statement of information, they are 1, the reason for what you want them to do, 2, the actual information, and 3, a reminder of the natural consequences if they don't do what's needed. Here's what I mean. Let's say you want your child to put away their stuff from school when they get home. Point to your child's backpack and say, lunchboxes that stay dirty in there for a while get stinky. If it's by the sink, then I'll remember to wash it for tomorrow. And if it doesn't get washed, then I'm not sure where tomorrow's lunch will go. You prompted your child to take action without telling them what to do. You gave them a chance to think through what will happen if they do and don't take action. They need to be able to think and problem solve to make good decisions. So give a reason and the natural consequence as part of your information statement. In my 12-week ADHD program, I've dedicated a whole section to getting kids to listen better with even more specific ways to make your instructions work better for ADHD brains. And as a parent in the program, you also get to practice how to give better direct instructions for when you actually need your child to do something. So check out the link in the description or just scan the QR code that's floating around here somewhere. And now that you understand this important reason why ADHD kids have trouble listening, you might be wondering, what happens when I do need to give a direct instruction? How do I make sure they actually follow it? For the best way to give effective instructions and then follow through on what you say, check out this video next. And if I haven't published it yet, YouTube will just suggest something else that will be helpful to you. Remember, put your relationships first. I'll see you in the next video.